Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we are talking about the second tenet of self-compassion, which is recognizing our common humanity. We will get into this in just a minute, but first, I want to tell you a very special announcement. This Sunday, February 5th at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing my TED Talk rehearsal. As many of you know, the TED Talk got canceled. However, I have another TED Talk conference with that my eye is on. I've already submitted my application. And so I'm still going to rehearse like the TED Talk is going to happen. The topic is, can self-doubt lead to confidence? Because I believe it can. I do not believe self-doubt and confidence are mutually exclusive. So if you're interested in that, come this Sunday, give me feedback, hear my TED Talk, and I hope to see you there. I will put a link to register in the comments below. Okay. With that out of the way, let's talk about self-compassion a little bit. Last week, we talked about the first tenet of self-compassion, which is talking to yourself like you would your best friend or somebody that you care dearly about. We have to put down our own internal weapons and talk to ourselves in loving, nurturing ways. You are with yourself your whole life, and so we need to change and make sure that the relationship that we have with ourselves is a healthy one. But that's not the only component of self-compassion. The second component is realizing that we are not alone. That failure, that mistakes, that pain, suffering, this is part of the fabric of our common humanity. All of this work comes from, I don't have the book with me. All this work comes from Kristen Neff's amazing book about self-compassion. So in recognizing our common humanity, it's basically meaning, she walks you through, compassion comes from the Latin word passio, which means suffering, and cum, which means with. And so compassion means suffering with another, suffering together. We are not meant to suffer alone. Humans are social creatures. And what happens is when we are in pain, if you are in pain, if you are in suffering, then it's so easy to feel isolated. It's so easy to feel alone, like no one understands. And so the second component of self-compassion really means to understand that we are a part of this human fabric, and we are never, ever alone, no matter what our minds tell us. So I want to tell you a quick story. Number one, I just want to say vulnerability hangovers are real. I did 2 podcast interviews a couple months ago, and one of them I felt really great about and had no problem sharing. And the other one, I listened to it, and I will tell you, I don't know what it was about that day, but my inner critic was up, and I was not as happy about that interview. And I didn't really share it. And the podcast host reached out to me a few days later and was like, is everything okay? I noticed, like, I really loved our interview. How are you? And I just said, oh my gosh, the vulnerability hangover is real. I'm glad to hear you loved it. I can only see what I perceive as my mistakes. So here's the thing. All I needed, we didn't even talk on the phone. It was just an email exchange where she said, are you okay? And I said, actually, I'm not. And she said, oh, I hear you. I've been there myself. And that email exchange was all I needed. I just needed someone to see my suffering, to go, oh, I hear that. That's not my perception, but I do know what it's like to have a vulnerability hangover. And so that moment of connection was really all I needed. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, now I feel ready to share. And I shared and I was happy again. I mean, this is all it takes. And what was interesting is I just got a text from her a few days ago saying, by the way, this episode is the second most downloaded episode that we have. That my show has produced. So that's exciting. And it's also just knowing that I'm not alone in vulnerability hangovers. So the question becomes, self-compassion won't make it so you never feel pain, so you never get consumed by your insecurities. What self-compassion does is when you are consumed by your insecurities, when you are consumed in your pain, it gives you a way out. And so one way is talking to yourself like you would your best friend. You know what? You did your best. You had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun in the moment. I'm not sure why it's not fun to listen to right now, but maybe that's not exactly true. Reach out to somebody else. Fortunately, she reached out to me, right? And because she is a trusted person, she's somebody I love and adore and admire, and I know is a trusted person, I was able to share that moment of vulnerability with her, and she was able to say, yeah, I've got it. I've got it. I understand where you're coming from. Being able to share, get out of the isolation, get out of the aloneness, and have this moment of common humanity is a way out of the pain and the suffering. That's how we get out. We don't always get out alone. We really do need that moment of connection. Next week, we will talk about, or I will talk about, the third tenet of self-compassion. You don't want to miss it. If you like my work, please like, comment, and share. It helps the algorithmic gods be able to find me and other people who may be needing a message like this to find me. If you are interested in my work or you want to sign up for my newsletter, head on over to AllisonKinnear.com. And because not only do I do videos about this, but I also share my writings as well. All right. Take care, everyone. I will see you next week.